So we have got to the end of the chain with Microsoft Copilot. This is the final video in a series where we have been looking at all of the steps that Microsoft Copilot takes when it attempts to answer your questions using tools and agentic capabilities and all of the things that you have given it. We have isolated a 7-step process. There are other videos in this playlist. You can go and find them for yourself. But where we are now is right at the bottom. We are looking at result analysis, responding, and the natural language output. As you remember from the previous video, Copilot uses a thing called generative orchestration to figure out which tool it is that it is required to use to answer your question. It uses that tool in the step called tool initiation. And now what we need to do is analyze the results that have come back from that tool in order to be able to formulate a response. And the way that it does this is pretty cool. So as it's been tracking through these stages, one of the things that Copilot has been doing is very much like LangGraph. It's been keeping track of the state of all of your messages and storing the outputs and inputs and the context and the knowledge that it's got back from all of the different tools as variables, effectively in a big in-memory blob. And there's a thing that we haven't touched on here actually that's called topics, which are a little bit like subgraphs of agentic capability. If people are vastly interested in the comments, I'll talk about topics at some point as well. But those pieces of in-memory variables are local to topics, but it can also have a big global memory as well. And when we come to doing result analysis, what Copilot does is it looks at all of the different variables that are inside this state, and it uses them to formulate the answer that you are requiring. So it might have grabbed some knowledge out of SharePoint, and it stores that in the state by going knowledge-SharePoint or whatever it is. I'm imagining it's basically a JSON object. That's how I would do it if I were to do this, like a graph, like a hash map, a dictionary in Python, that kind of carry on. But I haven't built Copilot, so don't ask me exactly how it's stored. And it takes all of those components and puts them together. So it grabs the knowledge out of SharePoint, it grabs the something out of a vector index you have over here, or maybe you've queried some Fabric instance or what have you. It doesn't matter. It takes all of those components, mushes them up, which is to say it pours them into the large language model that it has access to, which as of recording will be GPT-5, and formulates a response. There is one final secret step just here, which is that it runs it through all of the content screening moderation algorithms that we looked at here in the preliminary checks to make sure that the AI isn't saying anything naughty. And then, and only then, do you get your natural language output.